What's up, guys? We are back once again. Today we have a little bit of a different video for you than what we are normally used to seeing on this channel. All the videos up until this point have been season previews for the 17 drivers that are racing with High Limit in 2024. We also did a video about the format that you'll be seeing on a nightly basis with that series. And now today we are going to go over my predictions for where the top 10 drivers in points will finish at the end of the 60 race campaign later on this year. So before I get into that, I want to mention that in my opinion, there is a lot of parity with the High Limit series in 2024. I feel like the top two guys are almost in a league of their own, right? But from third through about the 10th or even maybe back to 11th or 12th in points, I think that you could really switch those guys around in any form from third on back. A guy that could run 12th on this board, I don't have up to 12th or even up to 17th. I'm just doing the top 10 for the sake of, simplicity, the sake of time. But I really do think there's maybe like a Parker Price Miller or maybe even a Jacob Allen or something, right? They could run as high as 6th in points here in this. And the guy that I've got for 10th in points here, I could really see if he gets hot, could be inside that top 5. Now, for those of you that don't know, maybe you don't even know what the High Limit Series is, you're very, very vaguely familiar with it. The top 5 in the point standings at the end of the season will get a charter. That charter will not kick in until 2026 starts, but the top 5 drivers in the point standings will have a charter for them in 2026. Everybody else, 6th on back, will have to try again next year, where the top 5 in points again in 2025 that don't already have a charter will get one as well. That gives you 10 charters for 2026. So the battle for the championship is going to be very interesting, obviously, but the battle for 5th, I think, in the charter positions is going to be extremely interesting all the way through the year, and it's just going to be another talking point in the entire sprint car industry throughout the 2024 season. So with that being said, we're going to jump in where I think these drivers are going to finish. And man, if I can nail this down, I would be very, very impressed. I really do think there's a lot of parity right now, and it would be almost impossible to try and guess the top 10, let alone the entire 17 driver field that High Limit has put together. So, and I also want to mention that I am friends with some of the drivers on this board here, and I hope they don't get mad at me, but it is so hard to try and guess who is going to be the top 5 because everyone is just so close, which in my opinion is a good thing for the race fans. So who I've got 10th in points, we're going to start it off with a driver in a new car for 2024, and that is Cory Eliason, who is teamed up with Ridge & Sun Racing. That team has been campaigning Aaron Reitzel here over the last couple of seasons, mainly around Knoxville and some racetracks around that area, and they have traveled here and there, but nothing like they're going to do in 2024 with Cory Eliason. They're going full-time with High Limit for the very first time with their team. They've never done like a full-time series before. And Cory Eliason, Tyler Swank, the crew chief, they've only got 6 races under the belt, 3 of them coming with the Outlaws at World Finals. They did make every single feature there, but they didn't finish inside the top 10. And they did run 3 races with the PowerRise Series in Oklahoma, where they were on the podium all 3 nights there. Obviously, competition not quite as good. But I do think Cory Eliason will finish at least 10th in points. He's a guy that's been on the road with the All-Stars for about 2 or 3 years. He knows what it's like to travel. He knows what it's like to go in and out, up and down the road, and live that lifestyle. And I think that will help him in this season coming up here. He knows what to do when it comes to those different scenarios that you could find yourself in as a driver. When times get tough, or even when times are good, he knows how to be a part of that. So I got Cory Eliason for 10th in points right now, and that leads me to 9th in points. Let me make sure I've got this right. And I've got Zeb Wise, 9th in points, which for some of you watching might be like, wow, the defending All-Star champion, 9th in points. And I don't know, man. Like I said in the very beginning, I think any of these guys from 10th on up could find themselves over on this side of the board. I mean, it's just that close. But Zeb Wise, I've got him 9th in points. If you look through Zeb Wise's results, his career in sprint car racing, he has not ran with the World of Outlaws on a very, long-term basis. He's only got about 20, 25 starts, I think, with the Outlaws. He does have that win at Port Royal, but he hasn't raced against the competition that he's going to be racing against week in and week out with High Limit. And I think that could catch up with him here. I think this is going to be a big year for Zeb Wise. He's going to learn a lot. I think he's going to win his fair share of races. But that consistency, will he find that with this competition he will be facing this season? I've got Zeb Wise for 9th in points in that Redeem Racing 26 car. 8th in points, Spencer Baston. So Spencer Baston, over the last 2 seasons with the World of Outlaws, he has finished, I want to say, 7th and 8th in the point standings with them. And when I first did Spencer Baston's season preview, he was actually the very first driver that I did. That was before we had 17 full-time drivers. I want to say when I did his preview, it was around 12 or 13 full-timers, and I had Spencer Baston between 4th and 6th in points. But ever since that season preview, we've added drivers that, in my opinion, are going to finish ahead of him in the point standings. I think he's going to have a bounce-back year. I think he'll get a handful of wins, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 wins. And hopefully they can get things figured out with that new Hoosier tire, because I think that's what really affected their stats last year in the CJB Motorsports number 5. But Spencer Baston, I've got him for 8th in points. He's another one of those guys I would not be shocked to see him finish 5th. It's just that close. So 7th in points. Make sure I got this correct. And Cory Day. I am bullish on Cory Day. I think a lot of people are bullish on Cory Day. They think he's going to have a very, very good year. He's going to win some races. There's no doubt about that. I think he's going to win somewhere between 5 and 7 races throughout the season. But does he find that consistency that you need to run with a series like High Limit to get over here on the top 5 side of the board? In my opinion, I just don't quite see it yet. He could prove me wrong, and I kind of hope he does, because I think Cory Day, I've been talking him up for a long time now. He is the future of sprint car racing. He is a future champion, whether that's with the High Limit Series or whether that's with the Outlaws or any other type of big-time sprint car series. Cory Day is a future superstar in this realm of racing. But right now, he's never done a series like this, right? He's never ran a 60-race campaign. He's never been to all the tracks we're going to with High Limit. He's never been really on the road that much. And on top of that, he's going to be doing schoolwork as well to finish high school. A lot on his plate in 2024. I don't think it's going to hinder him all that much. I still got him for 7th in points. I think he could be as high as 4th in points. But I'm going to take things a little bit, I'm going to roll the bottom a little bit here with Cory Day's prediction. I've got him down for 7th in the Jason Myers Racing number 14 car. 6th in points and just barely missing out on a charter position, Justin Peck. And I am really banking on Justin Peck having a bounce back year, because last season, 2023, only had a win or 2 all the way throughout the ton of races he did. I want to say over 80 or 75 races in 2023 for Justin Peck. Only had 1 or 2 wins. It was definitely a down year for that Buick Motorsports number 13 team. But I think they're going to bounce back. Justin Peck did get injured at Bridgeport Speedway, which kind of affected his year. Had a big wreck at Knoxville for the Nationals. And then on top of that new Hoosier tire might have affected him as well. But Justin Peck, I see him coming back this year and getting between 2 and 5 wins with High Limit. We saw him win a High Limit race last year at the Kokomo Speedway. Obviously, he's going to be one of the top contenders when we go back there later on this year. Justin Peck is a great get for High Limit, a very, very good driver, and he's got a lot of fans, I feel like. Justin Peck's fan base has grown a lot here over the last couple of seasons, and it's only going to grow more with High Limit next season. I am really looking forward to seeing what him and that team will accomplish this year. Right now, I've got him for 6th in points, but another one of those guys where if he finished in the top 5 would not surprise me at all. With that, we'll jump into the top 5 and who I think will walk away with a charter at the end of 2024. And the guy finishing 5th in points might be a little bit of a surprise to some of those people watching this video right now. And I've got Brett Marks finishing 5th in points. I've seen him on some guys' lists as high as 3rd, but I've got Brett Marks at 5th. I think no doubt he's going to finish with a charter position, but I think it's going to be that last one, 5th in points. If you look back to Brett Marks' career with the Outlaws, he ran 3 seasons with them, and things did not go very well. You know, he had a lot of DNFs, a lot of part failures, a lot of times he was in the B main on a nightly basis. Obviously, that was 4 years ago or so. He's come a very long ways as a driver, and that team has come a long ways. And, you know, over the last 2 years, you could argue that he's been the best overall driver in sprint car racing. But when it comes to a full-time basis running with a series up and down the road, track to track, a lot of new tracks for Brent Marks, how will he handle that? I'm basing it off of his outlaw stuff. You know, I know he's improved a ton, but Brent Marks, for me, I think he's going to run 5th in points with the High Limit Series. He's going to get plenty of wins. There's no doubt about that, especially when the Outlaws the High Limit Series comes through New York, comes through Pennsylvania, places like that. Brent Marks, Eldora, he is going to be a factor, especially on the bigger racetracks. Brent Marks, in my opinion, one of the best cars in the country on half-mile racetracks, and that's where I think he's going to make the most money for himself next season. I am very excited to see him, though, go to a lot of these tracks out in California, Skagit and Washington, and down there kind of in the South, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma. Excited to see what Brent Marks can do in those regions of the country. He's going to be fun to watch this year. 4th in points. James McFadden. I've got him 4th in the point standings with High Limit at the end of 60 races. When McFadden was announced about a week ago now at this point in time, I knew immediately that he was going to be a charter driver without a doubt, in my opinion. Now, I know these guys behind him are very, very good, and there's guys even on this list that are very, very good as well. But I've got James McFadden finishing 4th, especially after a career year with the World of Outlaws last year. Had 6 wins. He ran another race with the Front Row Challenge right before the Knoxville Nationals, got a win there against a very stout field. And, you know, McFadden is getting better and better with Roth Motorsports, with Brent Ventura. They seem to have a really good relationship. Ventura seems to have James McFadden very, very comfortable. They've got the Toyota engines running correctly. And a lot of the schedule with High Limit is on smaller racetracks where James McFadden really, really seems to excel. So I'm excited. I think this is a big signing for High Limit. And I think it's almost an underrated signing for High Limit. People didn't really seem to be all that excited, I feel like, for James McFadden's signing with this series. I think he's going to turn a lot of heads here. He's going to impress a lot of people. And he's going to be in victory lane a lot in 2024. 3rd in points. Is going to be Tyler Courtney, I believe, in the Clausen Marshall Racing 7BC. Tyler Courtney, I know he's been running with the All-Stars the last 3 or so years, and they don't have that competition that guys like Brad Sweet and guys like McFadden, Baston have been running against the Outlaws, obviously the toughest competition. Courtney has been running with the All-Stars where he's got maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 guys a night where he has to deal with them as far as competing for victories. This year with High Limit, he's going to have, there's going to be 10 to 12 guys a night that could potentially park it in victory lane. And Tyler Courtney, I think that he is going to have his fair share of wins for sure. And I feel like we've seen him when he comes to run with the Outlaws, he's always very, very consistent. He's consistent with the All-Stars. He knows what it takes to win championships. He knows if he's running 12th one night, he needs to try and make it a 10th place car. Don't try and win the race if you're running in 12th and wreck your car. Tyler Courtney, a very smart driver. Jake Argo, the crew chief on that car, he really seems to have Courtney in a good spot. They did struggle at some points last season. I know he got in that big wreck and he was injured for a while, came back, was struggling a little bit, but then towards the end of the year, they seem to be right back on track. Got that big win with the Outlaws at Port Royal, and I think Tyler Courtney is in for a big season with High Limit where he's going to gain a lot of fans and he's going to make a lot of money from winning different races throughout the country. He's going to be another guy, kind of like Brent Marks, I'm excited to see get to some of these different regions across the country. Tyler Courtney, I got him for 3rd in the point standings. That leads me to the top 2. I'll put them both at the same time. There you have it. I've got Rico Avery winning the High Limit Sprint Car Series Championship in 2024. In my opinion, last season, 2023, if Brad Sweet and Rico Avery were at the same racetrack, I feel like more often than not, Rico was the better car between the 49 and the 24 car. And I'm excited for Rico. I think Rico's very, very excited to be chasing after his first ever 410 Sprint Car Championship. He's got Ricky Warner, a guy that has won so many championships with Donnie Schatz and the Outlaws. I think having Warner, having a guy like Rico, and the rest of the crew guys they've got, they always seem to be in a good mood, especially when you win a lot, they're going to be in a good mood. But it seems like they're all fired up and ready to get after it with High Limit. Rico's got a ton of sponsors on board, and he's got a lot to look forward to this year. Going to be a lot of wins, and I think he will finally end the stranglehold, the reign of terror that Brad Sweet has had on sprint car racing on a national level. I think it finally comes to an end here in 2024, and Rico Abreu is going to win the High Limit Sprint Car Series Championship. It's going to be a great battle, as I mentioned at the top of this video. It's going to be a great battle between these two for the championship, in my opinion, and the battle for fifth, maybe even these three positions. I think you could take any of these guys right here, and they could slot themselves into one of those spots. That's how close they are. And man, I'm excited to get going down at East Bay. What's today? We are the 28th or 29th. The season is right around the corner, and we will soon find out who will be contending on a nightly basis for victories with the High Limit Sprint Car Series. Excited to be down there, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video for a High Limit points prediction. Just a little bit of a fun video, my opinions. Let me know what you think. What do you have as your top 10 finishers in the point standings with High Limit in 2024? I want to hear it down in the comment section below. We'll be back here either today, tomorrow, or the next day with another video I've got planned. We'll see you guys in that one. Thank you.